Hello, and welcome back to day 3 of the game jam. Let's get straight into what I've been doing today. I've done two main things. One is add a bit of audio to the game, just a few clips to make it seem a bit more alive. The sort of spidery tracks I went for egg cracking and hissing. I took a couple of music themes from Hollow Knight, mainly the Deep Nest and the Nosk themes, because they obviously fit the aesthetic very well. And I did a bit of editing of these in Audacity, trimming them, making certain bits louder, fading out certain bits that aren't necessary, that sort of thing. So if we move back into Unity, we can see that there are a few different changes. I say I did two things. It's three things mainly. The audio, some floor hazards, and I have made a projectile system for the spider. So there's an actual threat when you get detected. So let's just jump into a demonstration of what the game state is like now, and then I'll go into explanations of what is happening later. So it's pretty much the same at the moment, except for the music, obviously. I have put in the egg sacs that crack when you stand on them. They have a small particle system. The particle system came with the asset pack they came from, but I had to program like the triggers and the destroying of the eggs and making it permanent. The spider will hiss once it gets into a scan or alert state. And after that it will, go back to normal. We have the spider webs, which create like a small effect on your player, and it will slow you down in all axes. And we'll see what happens when you get detected. Big hit of music and a scream from Nosk. And he starts firing projectiles at you. There's a few things to iron out with the music stuff, but it's mainly working well. He'll spew like these projectiles at you, and they have the sort of random variants on them, so they're not like 100% straight on. And let's see what happens when you get hit. Because of the variants, it might take a second. Your controls are locked, and he, goes back to normal after a bit. But you're dead. That's the end of the game. So let's see what I've done scripting-wise for all of this to happen. It was a heavy scripting day. Start with a simple one: the sticky web on the ground. On trigger enter. It plays a function in circular control, which is just for player controller. On trigger exit, not slowed. So basically, it's changing a boolean, it's changing the effective speed, and changing it back afterwards. This one is what happens when you step over the egg. Basically, what it does is plays the egg cracking, and in the egg controller it does destroy, which is not the same as like the default destroy in Unity. It's a slightly different, but then it destroys the script so it can't happen again, supposedly. And in egg controller, destroy is basically destroying, setting the full egg to false, and displaying a cracked egg instead, playing the particle system of a cracked egg, and then destroying it so it doesn't play again. And it's just on trigger enter detecting if the thing is a player. I think that's actually not necessary anymore because I'm doing it over here. That's probably why we're getting the looping music. I've figured it out. We have this projectile web script. This goes directly onto the projectile. What it does is it will start by turning the object towards the player. As soon as it spawns, it will turn to the player. It's just transform.lookAt. Then it will do some, after it's rotated towards the player, it will add a bit of variance to it by adding a random rotation on the X and the Y axis. And after that, well, every frame, it will be moving directly forward. This means that as the tower is rotating, as the map is rotating, it will move the projectile with it. So you'll see that when we get detected here, a problem I was having before is that the projectiles would seek onto the player because they are firing directly at the player and the player isn't moving technically as the map's moving. So they'd always like hit the player even if they're, you know, supposedly moving. So yeah. What else have we got? Oh yeah. On collision enter. So when this thing hits the player, it triggers the get hit function in the player controller, and then it will that's if it hits a player. But no matter what it hits, it will destroy the projectile. So if we go find get hit, what it does, debug, you're dead. It will activate the web object on the player as a visual indicator. It will change Boolean. It will unfreeze the rotation and add a force. So basically what this does is when you get hit, it actually gives you some force backwards. And then it will destroy the box collider on the object. This is so the spider will stop looking at you. It will stop searching for you. And yeah, a lot of stuff has happened in here. A lot of cleaning up, a lot of making messy again. For example, this Vision Raycast, instead of having hit Collider doing this every single time, I just did it once, or like I guess twice, and set it to a Boolean. So instead of like if hit Collider player and in area, then do this, then it's just if line of sight and in area, hey, you're hostile. And in doing that, I could move a lot of things that should have been in hostile back into hostile. And hostile has fire webs at all time, which is up here, which has a countdown for fire rate, which is set in start. I had to do this because I had a bug with the Unity Inspector that the value that I set this to be a public float, so I could change it in the inspector. But even as I changed it in script in the inspector, it would not change unless I put it in start. I even tried resetting the entire script. It didn't work. But putting the extra line in start just made it work. Strange bug, but we figured it out. We have our audio source codes and like all of our tracks. Let's see. New one that we did. Let's see. Can close some of these. Make it easier to see. Close states. Go across. Now, because I only wanted the music to change once, and all of the state code is in update, so it happens every frame, I had to figure out a place to put the change music and sound effect stuff. And I put it in change light color, I guess. Because I already figured out how to make this only play once per state change, so it wouldn't just like infinitely play the music, repeating every frame and be horrible. So I put some of the change music and sound effect in here. Webs, we've seen that. Change music. This is another attempt to make it play once. It will stop. It will make sure it loops, and it will play the deepness track. And then it will set the current track to this so that it doesn't play again. The sound effects will detect if another sound effect is playing first before going. And this detect state change is another attempt to make sure it only plays once. Yeah, that's mostly what I've done today. Thank you for watching. I'll share my progress next time. Goodbye.